All right, with that, let's shift our focus. Within hours of unprecedented sanctions on Iran by United States and the meeting of the coalition of the willing with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, a secret flight landed in Moscow, likely carrying the CIA chief, John Ratcliffe, for a high-level meeting. The unannounced trip has now raised several questions, as agenda of the meeting is not clear yet, and Washington has been tight-lipped about this. An American military transport aircraft, Boeing C-17 Globemaster, entered the Russian airspace on the 25th of August. However, the Kremlin said that it had no information on the U.S. military transport airplane. The Boeing aircraft landed at Moscow's Vnukovo airport, if now officially confirmed. Remember, this will be John Ratcliffe's first known visit to Russia as the CIA chief. As per reports, American authorities informed Ukraine about the high-level delegation moving through its airspace and asked to hold off strikes until the plane moves out. The Globemaster took off from the Joint Base Andrews near Washington, D.C., which is known to host the U.S. presidential plane, Air Force One. After the takeoff, the C-17 made a stop in Riga before heading towards Moscow. Now, the flight path shows the plane took off on Sunday and it landed in Moscow on Tuesday. According to flight tracker data, the plane has taken off from Moscow and now is on its way back. But the jury is out on the agenda of this meeting, which may or may not be made public. Remember, the CIA is America's external intelligence agency. It's been responsible for gathering, evaluating, and processing national security intelligence from around the world. And we welcome our guest on the show tonight. Joining us live is Dov Zakheim. He's the Senior Advisor at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. He's joining us on the broadcast. Mr. Zakheim, welcome to WION. Can I start by asking you what you make of this, these reports that have been coming in, that is, John Ratcliffe visiting Moscow. The last time around a CIA chief visited Moscow was back in 2021. It was William Burns to stop Russia from attacking Ukraine. What do you think would be the agenda of this meeting now?
Well, as you say, nothing's been confirmed. And until we hear something official, it's pure speculation all around. A couple of points, though. First, Mr. Ratcliffe was involved, although he didn't visit Russia, he was involved in getting a dual Russian-American citizen, a lady named Carolina, I think, out of Russia last year. And so he has been dealing with the Russians. We know that. What he actually discussed with the Russians this time around, it would have been his first visit to Moscow. It could have been a lot of different things. I mean, for starters, the Russians have been probing NATO more and more aggressively. There was an interference in Finnish airspace. There's been the Romanians reported incursions along the Ukrainian border. There have been reports of gangs that are trying to attack British military-industrial facilities. Clearly, Putin is ramping up his pressure on NATO. That might have been a subject for discussion. Another subject could have been Moscow's relationship with the Iranians. As we know, the Russians have been assisting Iran. President Trump, just had announced secondary sanctions against anyone dealing indirectly with the Iranians, much less directly. And therefore, that could have been a subject for discussion. And finally, of course, there's one other point, which is Mr. Trump has always had what you might call a polite relationship with Mr. Putin. And so given that relationship, and given that Ratcliffe has successfully dealt with the Russians in the past, there may well be an effort to try to bring the Ukraine war to a close, which is something that Mr. Trump has been promising for quite some time.
Mr. Zakheim, as far as the Iran war is concerned, and since there is overlapping between the two wars, considering the fact that Russia and Iran are close, do you think that this could be an impactful step by the CIA, by Donald Trump administration, to get Russia to convince Iran back to the negotiating table?
Well, it's quite possible. I mean, we're really talking about two sets of negotiations here.
Hmm.
One is Russia-Ukraine, the other is Iran-United States. And Russia, as you say, could well play in that. So it may well be that either Ratcliffe is trying to move the Ukrainian negotiation forward because the Iranians seem so stubbornly determined not to give in, or alternately to get the Russians to push the Iranians. And then again, it isn't, of course, Russia alone that's supporting the Iranians. The Iranians probably getting a lot more support from the Chinese. But it is possible that that might be the objective. As I say, there is a menu of different objectives. There's lots for the United States to work with Russia on, if indeed the Russians are willing to back off on some of their positions.
All right, let's wait and watch what really happens and whether we do get a confirmation ever of this visit by the CIA chief. Mr. Zakhaim, thanks very much for joining us on WION and helping us decode the situation.
My pleasure. Thank you.